Thank you for your interest in the Grace of Calvary's Bible Heritage Museum and Prayer Place. If you just scanned the QR code, you're probably standing in front of our window display, wondering what it's all about. Let me explain.
The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord, thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever.
Many Bible-believing Christians are familiar with Psalm 12, verses 6 and 7, which rightfully reveal the purification and preservation process of God's words through different languages and through different English Bible translations. Several facsimiles are displayed in the window. But many years before David wrote these words in this psalm, God had revealed his plan, his process, and his purpose in some companion verses, another witness to the preservation of God's words. While Genesis is the first book of the Bible, many consider the book of Job to be the first book written, hundreds of years before this psalm.
Oh, that my words were now written! Oh, that they were printed in a book!
In the King James Bible, this is the only occurrence of the word printed. Even back then, God's plan was to have Job's words printed in a book. Then in verse 24, the preservation of Job's words were prophesied to be forever. And that prophecy is fulfilled because Job's words are available for us to read today.
That they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever.
But verse 24 not only promises the preservation of God's words, but by the choice of words also predicts the process of how it would be done. Now look at the 5 key words in the verse: graven, iron, pen, lead, and rock. Graven refers to when God's words were first written in stone, the 10 Commandments.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables.
Next, man used various types of pens to write God's words as they were revealed to them by the Holy Ghost. They wrote on papyrus, parchment, rag cotton, and eventually wood pulp paper. To speed up the writing process, the printing press was invented. A 1/8 scale replica of Gutenberg's press is shown in the display window. Johann Gutenberg revolutionized mass printing in Europe around 1450. But the press itself was just half of his contribution. His invention of movable type was the other. He cast his type using a durable metal alloy consisting of lead, tin, and antimony. This combination allowed the blocks to melt at lower temperatures, pour smoothly into molds, and harden without shrinking, making it faster and superior to wood block printing. This would introduce the first information age. The Bible was the first book printed by Gutenberg. The Bible, God's words printed in a book now available to the masses, would spread the knowledge of the truth throughout Europe. Another alloy would take printing to the next level. In the industrial age, steel replaced wood in many machines and tools. Steel is fundamentally an alloy of iron and carbon. The modern steel presses would vastly improve printer performance as millions of Bibles rolled off their presses. The next information age began with the invention of the computer, the primary component being the silicon chip. And the primary component of the chip is the element silicon, which is ultra-refined from rocks. There are many Bible programs available on computers today that allow us to read, study, compare, and print the scriptures. We have looked at God's plan and God's process. Verse 25 reveals God's purpose.
For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth.
God first used his finger to write his words. He gave us the ability to use our fingers to grasp a pen to write those words. As a child, we used our finger to slide along a sentence as we learned to read those words. Today, many of us use our fingers to touch a computer screen or to tap a button to access those words. God's purpose has not changed. He's still trying to point us to the truth. Come and experience over 500 years of Bible history as God's plan, God's process, and God's purpose are on display.